You know what? In all of how long has it been since I've done movies in my youth? Well, I'm gonna fix that today. But first, I have to do a low and high act of kindness. Um, I would say that my low is yesterday. Well, actually, last night is when things really got Well, yesterday was actually really cold. A lot colder than I probably should have been. But then, like last night, started to rain, so that wasn't good. My high is the fact that, I got my Ritas. I got to be with my mom and dad last night. It was wonderful. I'm going to be seeing them later this afternoon. That's going to be sweet. And hopefully I'll be able to swing a mom Sunday because with a certain event coming up for my family, I'll be talking about that as time gets a little bit closer to it. I'm going to need a nice new outfit, so that'll be nice. And I would say my act of kindness was setting the table for dinner last night. We had pizza. And listening for the doorbell. Before I continue, I had to say, I don't think I told this story already, but no kidding. For whatever reason, there's something wrong with the doorbell at my folks' place. On Halloween, no one was ringing the doorbell. I mean, the doorbell's right there. You're supposed to ring the doorbell. I mean, yeah, I'm right there, but it's traditional to ring the doorbell. Come on. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, good morning and happy Saturday, everyone. So, it's been a good while since I've done the movies of my youth. And I really wanted to think long and hard about what my next one was going to be. And then, no kidding, as soon as I was almost going to start this video, I forgot to grab this little guy. So, immediately after I, brought him here, brainstormed. And then it hit me. Today is Saturday, a day traditionally known for sleeping in, having sugary cereal for breakfast. I'm gonna get myself some donuts later. And watching Saturday morning cartoons. So yeah, people say there's a think and share. I have a thinking bear. So there you go. And then I thought, if I'm going to talk about anything involving Saturday morning cartoons, where would I even begin? Because, you have Warner Brothers, Disney, Paramount, the list is going to go on and on. So then I thought, is there a way I could talk about them all without talking about them at all? Wow, that was a rhyme straight out of Dr. Seuss, by the way. But yes, there is, because out of all that, with just over a year before I was born, there came out a movie called Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, this movie came out in 1988. I was born in late 1989. And I didn't really watch this movie until I was somewhere between the age of 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that area. And growing up, I saw that movie a lot. Not by my own volition, though. See, my brother adored this movie. And me, on the other hand, I remember liking it okay. And by okay, I mean, yeah, the animated stuff was great, but I don't want live action. I want animated cartoons. Not to mention, I don't think I've ever told this before, but one thing that always used to scare me growing up was Judge Doom, the bad guy of the movie. Specifically when it's revealed that, spoiler alert, he's not only a Toon, but he is the very Toon who killed Eddie Valiant, played by Bob Hoskins' brother. So, needless to say, the way that Christopher Lloyd, who played Judge Doom, who was, even to this day, he was phenomenal, by the way. You know, the way, like, he acted, and then they clearly modified his voice when he became a Toon, so he sounded all, like, high-pitched and scary, and, ugh. Growing up, it scared me. Of course, now that I'm an adult, and, you know, I decided to give it another chance a few years later. And what inspired me to give it another chance, believe it or not, was Doug Walker, aka the Nostalgia Critic, who the very first year he ever did a Disney December. That's when all throughout the month of December he talks about, you know, Disney stuff. One of the final, like, sort of honorable mentions that he did for Disney December, because the first year he did all the 2D hand-drawn animated movies. And even though Who Framed Roger Rabbit is, you know, 2D and live action, you know, again, there's 2D animation, so he had to talk about it. Plus, it had Disney characters in it, so it makes sense. And then I noticed how much Doug Walker mentioned how he adores this movie. And not only that, but he has yet to find anyone who does not like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. In fact, it's to the point where this movie can make anyone smile. As Doug Walker put it, even the biggest sourpusses. So with a claim like that, I'm like, okay, I'm legit going to give it one really good chance. And I did, and yeah, I love it. I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. In fact, it may just be one of my all-time favorite movies. Like, right up there with the likes of The Sandlot and others I haven't talked about yet. I love it that much. If you don't know the premise of this movie, it's Eddie Valiant, again, played by Bob Hoskins, is a detective who works on Toon-related cases. See, in the world of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, you know, Toons and, you know, people live side by side. Pretty much, I mean, for the most part, harmoniously. You know, we interact with each other and, you know, do stuff. And there's in California where, you know, people live, and Toontown, where, you know, all the Toons are meant to live at. You know, stuff like that. And right now, Eddie Valiant is, you know, down on his luck, having just recently, you know, lost his brother to a Toon. And how did his brother die? Because the Toon dropped the piano on his head. As Doug Walker put it, that is hilariously tragic. And so he's working on this one case where, you know, it would appear that Roger Rabbit's wife, Jessica, who was clearly designed to be like, you know, a bombshell of a beautiful hand-drawn human woman. You know, obviously it was meant to be highly, you know, sexualized at the time, but, you know, whatever. It works. And, you know, she's still an endearing character, so I can't really complain. And, you know, all throughout that, a murder case is going on for Marvin Acme, who owns the rights to Toontown, and there is sort of an ongoing story, like who has the will, because Toontown was actually promised to the Toons, but you need the will to prove it, obviously, because that's how it works. No, really, that's legit how it works. The last will and testament is supposed to be viable proof that whatever it says has to be done. Little legal jargon for you. And and it's so, because all throughout this time, Roger is trying to bond with Eddie Valiant, trying to, because obviously Roger's the one who's been framed for this murder because of, what Eddie Valiant did in terms of the pictures that would have insinuated that, Jessica was cheating on her. They were playing patty cake, by the way. Again, this writing is just so good. And actually, if you think this writing is so good, obviously as goofy as Roger Rabbit asks, when Eddie got a moment with Jessica alone, he's like, "What are you seeing him?" And then she's like, "He makes me laugh." Okay, that's actually a really good reason to be together, I'm not going to lie. And then we get to, the climax where, this is another thing to try to touch to. The first time you see the dip, that got me as a kid, man. That poor defenseless little shoe. That cartoon shoe. What did it ever do to you, Judge Doom? You mind your own business, you put in the dip and then you die. That ain't cool. Whatever. But eventually, Toontown is saved. Oh, get this. Judge Doom's plan was to destroy Toontown and turn it into a freeway. I can't help it, this is good writing, I'm not gonna lie. And funny, and witty, and endearing. And by the end of the movie, Jessica and Roger, reunite, obviously under good terms or whatever. Eddie learns to, loosen up and actually have a sense of humor again. And obviously like tunes again. And yeah, everyone lives happily ever after. So what did that have to do with Saturday morning cartoons? Because all throughout this movie, you see cameos from all the Looney Tunes like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, and all the Disney characters like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy. You can even see, Droopy. Remember Droopy? You know what? And Jelly. You see stuff like that all throughout the movie. It's great. And what better way to end this movie with Porky Pig doing his usual outro for the Looney Tunes cartoons? And remember, this took place in the 1930s or whatever, 1950 or 1930s or whatever, when animation was just starting to be really big. So in that moment, we witnessed history in Porky Pig discovering his, casual outro. No kidding. The current voice of Porky Pig is a fellow by the name of Bob Berger. And I actually once saw how he's able to voice Porky Pig himself. And if I do this correctly, it should sound like a chair of a baby boy, like stuff like that. Like he figured that out. And in that regard, also, that's all. I messed it up. That's all, folks. Like that sort of thing. Obviously, I can't do Porky Pig's voice in that way, but you get the idea. So, all in all, a movie that I was legit scared of when I was a kid is not only a movie that I like, it's one of my all-time favorite movies. I mean, if you look on Rotten Tomatoes, last time I checked, that has a score of 98. 98 out of 100, that's pretty good. It's hard to get anything better than a 98. I mean, although, of course, there's always going to be some hater out there probably trolling people, but honestly, I'm not one of those people. I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You know, it's just one of those times when, you know, I can watch and look in amazement of like all these cartoon characters interacting with, you know, people in, you know, live action. And here's the thing, like this wasn't anything new at the time. Like there have been movies where animated characters and people, you know, coexisted. I mean, Disney even had a few of those movies actually. Like Saludos Amigos. You know, the introduction of the Three Caballeros. Like that was, you know, 2D hand drawn people together. Really, when you think about it, this movie really had a lot of things in it that by all accounts at one point or another had been done already. When Doug Walker first did his Disney Summer on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, he mentioned this. And so he tried to piece together why it still works the way it does. And if I recall correctly, he came to the conclusion that, you know, it really is just the scope and the magnitude of all these details coming together and forming something great. You know, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And that's true. But then I thought why the Blockbuster Buster loves this movie, because the Blockbuster Buster loved this movie too. And then I thought about what he said involving the three things that make a movie great. And part of the criteria of what I would consider to be S tier nowadays. And that is, a great movie has to tell a good story, be entertaining, and show you something you've never seen before. It did tell a good story, a very interesting story, by the way. It was entertaining with good writing, and you know, you get to see Mickey Mouse interact and talk to Bugs Bunny. No one's ever seen that before, and it's likely that won't ever happen again. So, yeah, I really could. I tell you what, I talked about this movie too much, and everyone's going to miss their Saturday morning cartoons. Amphibia's going to be on this morning. Another Saturday morning cartoon. I can't wait to watch that later. So right now, I think I'm going to go get myself some breakfast and watch some Saturday morning cartoons. And maybe I'll watch a movie later. I got to see my folks later too. I got a busy day today. Yet also incredibly lazy too. What can I say? It's Saturday. Like, favorite, share, hit the subscribe button, follow me on social platforms on YouTube. I'm very home this video for all of you guys who are watching you over today. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Remember, you want to talk gems, be here to lend you always every back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.